Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Russian jazz guitarist and composer Evgeny Probozhiy. We caught up with him in the early stages of the COVID-19 lockdown from his base in Moscow. His fame is on the rise as a jazz and fusion virtuoso guitarist and composer. These days, he is on a fast path in his solo career by creating international projects with young jazz stars from the United States, Europe, Asia, and Russia. He's got a great future and a great story. Enjoy. Thank you for taking a minute out. I think talking about music is probably a good idea with everything that's going on, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
So,
thanks for inviting me.
Oh, man, absolutely. It's my pleasure. I've been a big fan. Talk to me about Enjoy the Silence. You just had a new album that came out last year. It's probably, it's great that people have the chance to listen to music now, but it's probably also a little upsetting that you can't perform this music live this year. Talk to me about how you feel about that, just kind of about the recording and about, just any thoughts you have on that.
First of all, I do like recording music, and I have some video projects on my YouTube channel, and I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to share my music with people all over the world. But of course, I'm a jazz musician, and the most preferred part of musicianship for me is playing live gigs, and I feel really bad about this situation, and being not able to play live concerts and to communicate with the audience is really bad. But anyway, somehow it will end, and now I'm, working for a new music for my upcoming album for the Concord Records. I have plenty of time, for this work and to prepare some new compositions. Anyway, I'm trying to use this period as much as possible.
So, in the beginning, you started around 9 years old playing classical guitar. Talk to me a little bit about why the guitar was the instrument you picked.
My father had some collection of vinyl recordings and tape recordings of some old rock music, like English bands from 70s, like Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Beatles, etc. And I was really impressed by their music since I was maybe 4. I really liked this stuff, and when I was 9, I decided to pick up the guitar and try to play something. And I tried. My father had guitar also. And then I decided to enter a music school in my hometown. We had a few teachers there, so I entered this music school and started studying classical guitar and also a bit of electric guitar. My teacher, he also taught me some basic stuff for electric guitar too. And that was the moment when I just started to learn music and discover some classical music, blues, rock, and later jazz music and some theoretic basics at this music school.
So what were some early jazz influences for you, early albums you listened to?
The earliest albums I found, jazz music, it was, first album was Pat Metheny Group, Letter from Home, and John Scofield album, Blue Matter, if I'm not mistaken, and also album by Charlie Parker. It was I forgot this English word, like a mixtape, from different recordings with different bands. Some of his best known compositions. I mean, Charlie Parker. And these 2 albums, it impressed me so much, and I just switched to jazz music. I started learning everything I could find, any recordings, any books, transcriptions, courses of improvisation, everything I could find in the internet and in library in my hometown. I tried to use to develop my knowledge of jazz.
So what was the first live jazz show that you ever saw?
Live jazz show? I think it was the concert in my hometown. It was Randy Brecker, and he played with Igor Butman Jazz Quartet. Igor Butman is a famous Russian saxophone player, and he invited Randy Brecker, famous trumpeter, and they made a tour in Russia, and they played also in Siberia in a few cities, and one of the places was was the town where I lived. It was Tomsk. And I think it was the first jazz live gig I visited. Maybe I was 16 years old at the time, and I was, I was amazed. It was just incredible to hear this music live, and Randy played like he always plays, like a really jazz god.
And then, of course, it had to be a dream come true to have Igor invite you to be a part of the jazz orchestra and to learn from him.
Yeah, of course. It was a bit later. I was invited when I was, if I'm not mistaken, 28 years old. So at this moment, I already graduated from the conservatory in Russia, and I worked for several years as a player in different orchestras, bands, and projects, and also as a teacher. And once I was invited to one of Igor's festivals in Moscow, the Future of Jazz. This is the festival. It is dedicated to young musicians from Russia and from other countries. And they invited me. And after this festival, Igor invited me to take part in his orchestra and also quintet. So what do you like best about being a musician? A lot of great aspects. First of all, I love music. And this is my one of the most important things in my life. Playing music, listening to music, creating music, composing, everything, developing, growing. And also jazz music is a great source to self-expression. It's like kind of a musical language. I think it's the most powerful art form in music in terms of ability of musician to express his feelings, his emotions, thoughts, and also to share these things with audience and also with other musicians, to communicate with musicians in a band. And I'm just happy with it. Right on. So once we get back to live music after the coronavirus is gone, what do you hope both the musician and the audience member realizes during this time away? Audience should realize that live music is a really important part of our culture, our life, and the most important thing which every person can do for musicians, just visit gigs, give musicians chance to play for them by their music, just help music to stay alive and to develop, to grow. One more question I have for you is this. Everyone has their idea of who they think you are, but you're living your life. Who do you think you are? How would you define the music that you give to audiences? How do I define the music I give the audience, in terms of style? Yeah. I think it's... I don't really want to choose one word or two words to name it. For me, it's just improvisational music, modern improvisational music based on jazz and some other traditions. I try to incorporate some elements of some ethnic music, maybe some modern music styles like hip hop. For me, it's just modern improvisational music. I would call it in this way. Based on jazz, of course, because jazz is a basis, like the art form, which is the root of everything which is happening in this music today, for me. Right on. That's a great answer. Hey, thank you for taking some time out today during a very weird time on the planet to speak with us. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me. Great pleasure to hear you and to take part in your broadcast, and thank you. Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Russia, America, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Evgeny for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.